The investigation into an officer-involved shooting that left one man dead in Hayes continues tonight. We have spoken with family members and neighbors in just the past hour. We are being told by those closest to him that he was special needs. KSN's Chris Arnold has been to Hayes this afternoon gathering the details. Chris?
Good evening, Darren. Now, the family has asked us not to identify the victim at this time, so we're not giving out his name. But I can tell you the man lived in an independent living center and was described as having very little verbal skills. I sat down with the Ellis County Attorney Thomas Dries earlier today, who says this all took place at two different locations over about 10 minutes time. I'm standing here in the 2700 block of Plaza Avenue, where Dries says this all started. Now, he says that a Hayes police officer was trying to stop the car for a traffic violation. He wouldn't specify what that violation might have been. But according to Dries, the man driving the car didn't listen to the officer when he was stopped and ignored the directions the officer was giving. At that point, the officer, whose name is not being released, called in for backup. As one of the backup officers arrived, Dries says the driver took off in his car. That's when the chase started and lasted about a mile and a half, ending in the 2300 block of Timber Drive. The driver got out of his car and once again, according to the county attorney, ignored the instructions of the officers. Things went downhill from there.
The situation escalated to the point where a shot was fired. A Hayes police officer did shoot one round, striking a 36-year-old white male who lives in Hayes, and the individual did die from the gunshot wound.
Attorney to respond to reports of the driver being special needs, and he said he would not comment on that at this time. Now, I did speak with several residents who live in the area where the shooting took place, saying they're all in shock that this happened. I'll have that coming up tonight at 6 o'clock on KSN News. But for now, live in Hayes, Chris Arnold, KSN News.
Thank you, Chris. We still have a lot of questions regarding the shooting tonight. We asked if the officer involved is on leave, and we were told no comment. We asked if the victim was armed. The county attorney would not say. The KBI and the sheriff's office are heading up this investigation.
A 36-year-old man with special needs was killed Thursday in Hayes, Kansas after a 1.5-mile chase ended with the man getting out of his vehicle and refusing to follow the commands of the officers. Originally published at thedailyhas.com by Mako Hayes. Hayes, Kansas officer shoots and kills special needs man for not following orders. Thursday afternoon, a Hayes officer fired one shot which killed a special needs man after a 1.5-mile-long chase. Ellis County Attorney Thomas Dries is showing very little transparency in regards to the fatal shooting. The 36-year-old man was said to live in an independent living center and had very little verbal skills. There is very little known about the Hayes, Kansas police officer who shot and killed a special needs man on Thursday during a traffic stop. Ellis County Attorney Thomas Dries is not saying much in regards to the shooting. Dries said the 36-year-old was pulled over for an unspecified violation. The officer who pulled him over said the suspect was not following the orders the officer was giving him. The officer called for backup. Once backup arrived, Dries said the suspect drove away. A 1.5-mile chase ensued, which ended at 2300 block of Timber Drive. The suspect got out of his car and was said to refuse to follow the officer's directions. At roughly 2:40 p.m., the officer fired one shot, which killed the man. There were no details given as to what happened to cause the officer to shoot. As it turns out, the suspect that was shot and killed is a special needs man. His family said the man lived in an independent living center. KSN spoke to the family, who said he had very little verbal skills. At this time, neither the victim or the officer's name is being released. When Dries was asked if the officer was on leave, he responded with no comment. When asked about the man being special needs, Dries again responded with no comment. The special needs man that was killed by the Hayes officer is said to have been unarmed. Dries has chosen to wrap the shooting in a cloak of secrecy. Click on the image to check out mobile device apps that can help you stay safe and keep the police accountable.